It is 12 noon. Welcome back in on this Reaction Monday. We've already heard from a lot of coaches, Mike Norvell, Dave Aranda. We're going to go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama now, and we're going to give you an opportunity to hear from Kalen DeBoer as his team gets ready for the Florida State Seminoles coming up on Saturday.
Got you crunched in here a little bit more, huh? Didn't know if that would deter you away. I guess you hadn't had a chance to see what it looked like. But good morning, and I know you guys got a chance to meet with the coordinators, but it's game week, and it's a great feeling for everyone, right? You guys included. And so excited about this last week of preparation. Guys, I think, are in a good spot. We continue to, have those things continue to be healed up here nicely last week. And so getting, like I said, time to play, see where we're at. And, I think this team that we got here going on the road, be a great test with Florida State. We know that from the coaching staff, head coach Coach Norvell and two new coordinators, been a lot of film for us to pour through. We know that they've done a great job over their careers individually and now collectively. Know that we're going to face a good test here this weekend. So, a lot of work putting into that last week. We'll continue to do that, and proud of our staff, proud of our team on all the focus that they've had just on keeping the main thing, and really taking it one day at a time. And I think there comes a point now where you do have to start thinking, because we are so focused on the moment, that time now is coming, and this week should feel different.
Thanks, Coach. Let's start with Nick here on the far right.
Yeah, other than Jam, do you expect anyone else to miss this game because of an injury?
I would say Jaden Roberts, still in question, just with what he's going through in the protocol and the process there. So he's progressing, so we'll kind of see here.
Going with Charlie on the second row.
Just kind of piggybacking off that, what have you seen from that first-team offensive line, especially Gino kind of stepping in for Jaden?
Yeah, and Gino was here a year ago, was battling, and we threw him out there in, a couple series a game, and he would do a great job. And, I've referred to him as Swiss Army knife guy, can go out there and do a lot of things, so he's really valuable to us. And, really a lot of confidence, not just by me, but I know everyone out there offensively believes in him, and, he's done a nice job. So, really feel like you skip a beat at all. And he was in there competing for that spot in the first place, all along the way. So, he loves us. He there's an energy that Gino, as you get to know him, that you really appreciate. And I think he adds that to our offensive line, in his own way.
Okay, so the left side here to Chase.
Ryan Grubb being the only assistant coach in the booth for game days this year. I think there were only 2 last year. Can you just speak to your preference for having most of your staff on the field?
Trying to think. Last year we had Sheridan up there. Right. Anyone else?
I think Hitzler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. I thought you meant just offensively. The world we're in now, where you have some really high-end quality offensive analysts, defensive analysts that you really trust, and there's a number of guys that will be up in the booth with those, that really have worked together with these coaches a long time. I mean, Grubb in particular, you got Mitch Dolan and Tyler Hughes, not just Coach Grubb, Ryan Grubb working with him, but myself as well. And so a lot of trust that you just have, and I think being on the field with our players is an important piece, and as long as we're getting the information we need from up top, that's important. I think the other element that gets added to this that changed a year ago is the iPads, and we can see everything on the field. I can see it all on the field. Maybe not in that moment, but we can understand, why something happened, good, bad, ugly, whatever it might be, and we can make those adjustments by seeing on video as good as anyone, because that's got both views, the wide and the end zone shot. So we can make those adjustments on the field with our guys, and I think that's important for our coaches to be there with our guys, which is why you see more of the coaches on the football field.
Go to Katie, second row in the middle.
When you're breaking in a new quarterback, some new players along the offensive line on the road in the first game, what's the benefit to having an experienced guy like Parker at center?
Yeah, and I mean, Ty, I understand this is his first game, but just with how long he's been in college, and he's got a few games under his belt in different ways, but it doesn't feel like maybe it feels that way for him, but I got a lot of confidence in him and just his emotional maturity and where he's at there to be able to take this in stride and it not be something that's overwhelming to him. So, but as you referenced with Parker, just those two guys working hand in hand, being team captains, and the energy, or just the way that they kind of infuse energy into our team, but also do it in their own way where they can stay calm themselves. You feel very confident in what that's going to look like on game day with Parker running the show, and Ty there, hand in hand with him.
Go to the back of the room, Mike.
For the team in general, just what are some of the points of emphasis going on the road this year where you can improve upon last year?
I think starting fast, right? You got to start fast. You dig yourself a hole on the road. It gets hard. The crowd gets behind the home team, and that comes down to execution, which comes down to preparation and the work that's happening on the football field. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's the same old thing, but starting fast and giving yourself, not that you don't have the belief, but like another level of like momentum, and so. As much as anything, taking it away from them, especially in an environment that we know is going to be a good one down there in Tallahassee.
Front row on the left, Colin.
Hey, Kalen, I know that we've talked with Kane a little bit about this, but what have you seen from a guy like Dijon Lee, kind of coming in, being, Kane called him, we see him as a starter. I'm curious about how you've seen him kind of grow over the course of the last few months to kind of put himself in that position.
Yeah, when you that comment right there, I guess the way I'm hearing it is how I'd feel. Like you have no problem putting him out there on the football field, and there's a maturity. Use that with Ty and Parker and our team, but there's a maturity that a freshman has, and I felt like Xavier Brown had that last year. And there's other guys too. But to specifically focus on Dijon, he's had that even just when he doesn't even know what he doesn't know in spring ball. There's something about his presence and just the way he is, and it's not about being as tall or anything. It's just about the confidence to go out there and play. And I know that's all part of it. You got to have the skill set, and he's just done a great job being consistent from the first day he got here, winter workouts to where we're at today. And you keep throwing more and more on his plate, and he rises to the occasion. So you feel very comfortable putting him out there on the football field.
Front row on the right, Tony.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but the last time you were on a team or coaching a team that was starting on the road was Southern Illinois in 2013. Do you even remember that game? And what do you draw on, I guess, from past experience to get your players ready for, getting a road environment right off the bat?
Eastern Illinois? Did we play Eastern Illinois? Who did we play? Illinois. Oh, Illinois. Okay, that was the year before we played at Eastern Illinois, maybe. So, yeah, I was trying to think back. What was your just kind of what the question? What are you looking for?
Oh yeah, just do you draw back on anything?
Yeah,
from either playing experience.
That was so. Yeah, it's been so long. I think you just go back to any big road games that you play, and this one being the first game of the season, the first one's always big. It's always the biggest because it's the next one, and then. I think just getting the season off to a good start, that's important. That makes it big. So, in all these ways, I think what it does is it gives you an urgency during fall camp. Playing these games like this, just kept I think the focus of fall camp at a high level, knowing that you got to be at your best because your opponent is, and we know they got a lot that they want to prove. They're gonna. Want to open up their season in a big way. So, again, I think the guys have done a great job of just focusing on us, focusing on what we can control, being in the moment. I know those are cliches, but I think these guys have really done a good job.
Go to Jamie, back row in the middle of the room.
Hey, Coach, going into year 2, what changes have you noticed, whether from leadership or locker room culture, have you noticed that gives you the confidence that this team can handle the big moments this season?
I think consistency in practice, consistency with how guys handle each other when maybe there's a moment that doesn't go as well. And it doesn't even have to be on the practice field. It can be anything. And then just accountability to each other, if there's something that's just not to the level that they know, it doesn't mean that someone did something wrong. I'm talking about at the level, and making that guys that are new to the program understand what that level should be. There's just a great investment that you see, and that leads to the consistency that I'm talking about. And, there was maybe a practice where there's more on their plate and school starting and things like that, just you could feel it was different, they needed to get out of there because they had to get to class, and that feels different because the guys are always putting in extra work on their own after practice. But in the end, I really feel like these guys, their investment's been at extremely high level. And if there was a rep or two in practice that didn't go their way, those individuals that group together, I missed a pass, they're going to put in the extra work and get that pass right after practice. And so, these guys want it. They want it. And the actions have supported, the work that it's supported through the work they've put in to reach their goals.
Let's finish up with Kennington on the front right here.
In regards to the offensive line, I know you mentioned Gino, as a potential to replace Jaden. Is there anybody else in the depth part of the offensive line that earned their way to being considered for rotational snaps on Saturday?
Nothing probably to the extent that we had a year ago, where we were very intentional. Gino, and then at right tackle, kind of rotating there too. So nothing to that level right now. Doesn't mean we don't feel comfortable putting some guys out there, but especially with this group, I'd like to get out there and generate some continuity, some momentum. I remember last year, the first play of the game, I think Parker's helmet flew off. Proctor got hurt in pregame. So by the second play of the game, we had two new faces on. So hopefully we got a little better luck here this year when it comes to that. So, but yeah, no, I think that's kind of the unit and the group that we'd like to have out there, most of the snaps. Doesn't mean that a guy here and there might float out there for one series, but it's not something as intentional as we were a year ago.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Real tight.
That is Coach Kalen DeBoer as his team gets ready for the Florida State Seminoles coming up on Saturday. We'll break it down for you when we come back. This is Reaction Monday on Jocks. Alabama, Florida State coming up this weekend. We'd love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX. The courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. Week 0 now in the books. Now the rest of college football gets an opportunity to play this weekend as all SEC teams will be in action, including Auburn Friday night taking on the Baylor Bears. Then on Saturday, Alabama against Florida State.
Kalen DeBoer, his press conference, anything that you guys thought was noteworthy that you didn't expect him to say, how he said something?
To me, the whole demeanor, and it should be different than what it was last year at this time as you go into week 1 as the first ever head coach at the University of Alabama. A little bit different than what it is this year. I'm not saying he sounded overconfident, but I think they liked the way that camp wrapped up the last week or so. And he feels really good about this football team. Now, it's time to go out and perform, and we'll see what happens. But I think he likes where the football team is.
Well, and I think it goes back to what we said when we, were hearing from him in Atlanta, right? It's, like you're saying, maybe it's not overly confident. He just sounds more comfortable,
yes.
Right? It sounds like this is his football program. He is the guy in charge. He's not looking over his shoulder. Oh, what's Nick Saban think about this? Should I ask Nick for input on this? It feels like he is the head coach of Alabama football, and yeah, I think he is confident. I think, like you said, he's happy with the preparation, but he also understands that, it's going to come down to the 22 guys on the field on Saturday, and if they can go out there and execute. You can call a great game, but if your guys don't execute, then it's not going to matter.
So we were just looking at during the break, and we'll hear in about an hour from now, we will hear from Hugh Freeze, the head coach of Auburn. And we were just looking over the depth chart that many of the Auburn beat writers have released on social media. No big surprise. Jackson Arnold, obviously, he's your number one quarterback. Deuce Knight, Ashton Daniels, that is an or situation in regards to who the backup would be. Speaking of Auburn quarterbacks, former Auburn quarterback Zach Calzada, he was named QB1 at Kentucky this morning. And how about Robbie Ashford, the former Hoover quarterback who went west to Oregon, played baseball and football for Oregon. Then he transferred to Auburn. Then he transferred to South Carolina. He has been named the starting quarterback for Wake Forest. No word yet on TJ Finley if he is the quarterback anywhere in America. Have not seen that, but he still has his Amazon site. I did check that this morning.
That's good. Hey, good for Robbie Ashford. I'm glad that he got an opportunity to, go and try to be Sam Hartman, I guess.
So he was the backup quarterback last year at South Carolina. Now he's QB1 at Wake Forest.
Show off the wheels a little bit, right?
Red Zone Robbie.
Last year, probably not an opportune time to pick to go to South Carolina.
No, don't think anybody, including him, knew how good Lenore Sellers was going to be, but hey, he's got playing time.
Yes, he does. 205-834-9450. We got time to get to some of your text. And Johnny says, Mark Jones used to be okay, but he let RG3 bring him down to his level. Let's see. Somebody asking, does Jordan have a curfew if they included her in a reality series with Bill Belichick?
I think the better question is, does Bill have a curfew?
Pizza Larry recommendation, Stepmoms of Chapel Hill.
That's a good one.
I love it. Darren from Tennessee, I've seen where Florida State released their depth chart. Roy Dell is starting at running back. Yes, he is. Wearing number 5.
Well, actually, it's an or situation. Him or the transfer from Oklahoma.
I'm guessing Roy Dell gets the start. Lee.
He started for him last year.
He sends in his Bama FSU prediction. He's got Bama 24-10. Sam says Conrad taking Ty Simpson over Castellanos because he got benched at BC is laughable, considering Ty Simpson got benched after coming off the bench versus USF, UCF, SF.
Yes, that did happen 2 years ago. We'll find out on Saturday.
Drake asking, is PG lost his mind? I'm a lifelong Gators fan, and I never want Florida State to win anything, but PG's prediction of the upset, according to Drake. Silly. Zach says the band Kiss sells air guitars, empty guitar case, and air guitar picks, empty pick bag. Gavin, call me biased, but I think every SEC team rolls this weekend except LSU being the lone loss.
I think Texas is going to have their hands full.
Yeah, I don't know about every
against
school
Ohio State. I think I would give the lean to the Buckeyes right now on that one.
Bama hater asking, where will the witness protection secret location be if FSU beats Alabama? Wouldn't be secret.
It will be at my house. Come on.
In your closet?
We'll grieve together. Sure.
I'm a Bama fan. Playing at Witchcraft Stadium equals Bama loses Iron Bowl. Jimmy, y'all, college football is here. I'm making smoked wings and gluing my rear to the couch.
Sounds like a nice Saturday.
Make sure the wings are done.
Yeah. Good call.
Casey says, imagine being a Baylor football player having to sit through a motivational speech from Dave Aranda. I bet he really gets him going. Jeez.
See, that's what I'm thinking. Imagine, it's you just had fall camp. You just went outside practice. It's 110 degrees on the field. You had a workout earlier, and then you got to sit and listen. I'd be falling asleep. It'd be hard not to nod off.
Got the AC.
Yeah, that'd be tough. He's a good football coach.
Dave Aranda is about as soft-spoken as I've ever heard any coach to be. The coaching thing doesn't work out. He could read the childhood bedtime stories on audio. That was my guess.
He would be really good at that.
This is great. Just a nice, soothing voice as you're trying to go to sleep.
It's almost impressive how he has no inflection, no emotion. Like, it's, I don't know, it's almost like a gift that you can even do that.
This is the tough one from Josh. He wants everybody to give their response. for three-man front. You have to pick one. RG3 calls your game or Beth Mowens.
I'm going Beth Mowens.
Welcome.
Yeah,
I'd take Beth.
I'll go Beth.
I would probably take Beth
I'll
Mowens
go Beth.
as well. Yeah.
Brant says, my Lord, I almost fell asleep while driving, listening to Dave Aranda talk. Another one. Boy, he sounds fired up, don't he? James says, Dave Aranda needs to go do golf commentary for CBS. I was driving and was fighting falling asleep.
I wonder what it would sound like if they beat Auburn. You think it'll be any different? His inflection?
No.
His excitement level?
No. Even keel.
Maybe he's on beta blockers.
Maybe so.
Someone was asking, can you guys get a counter on Norvell's presser, Zach and Huntsville?
It was funny as they, because we played it off of, they had it on their YouTube channel, and so they have like a live chat going on, and apparently that's a bit of a drinking game amongst the Florida State fan bases. You listen to a Mike Norvell press conference.
That explains a lot on Tuesday with FSU Dave, why he drinks so much.
Yes. So apparently
that now.
that's the drinking game. You listen to Mike Norvell talk, and every time he says you take a drink. Apparently it gets you quite inebriated.
Makes perfect sense.
I'm glad the fans can have fun with it.
We thought FSU Dave had a problem. Turns out he's just a loyal fan.
No, he's just playing a game.
Trying to play the game.
Yeah, that's all.
You want to be part of the group. Didn't a season opening loss to Alabama start a Florida State slide last time? Ooh, good point. Was that DeAndre?
Francois.
Yeah,
24-7 was, I believe, the final score of that game.
Andrew said Dave sounded like a turtle on Xanax.
That's my favorite. It's a good way to describe it.
This one rolls in. Landrum, I thought you might like these pics of a rehearsal dinner cake that was made of Truist Park. Go Braves. What? Oh, wow. You seen this, Pat?
Uh-huh.
That's a cake that I would never want to eat. You just spray it with something where it stays that way, it doesn't mold, and you could display it in your home.
Wasn't like when you get married, aren't you supposed to save part of the cake and then eat it on your 1-year anniversary?
Yeah, freeze it.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Yeah, my son did. They froze a piece of both of the groom's cake and the bride's
Something
cake.
about year-old cake.
Frozen year-old. Ugh.
Pass on that.
We got to vote for RG3, the modern hobo, text into the show and says, insulted, there's no way Mowens calls a better game. Well, first of all, they have different roles calling a game. She is play-by-play, and he is analytics or color.
See, and I'd much rather listen to a play-by-play person that maybe I'm not a big fan of with a decent color analyst as opposed to a great play-by-play caller and a bad color analyst, because then you're going to get a lot of rambling and interjections and things you just don't need.
As you-knows go, I'll put DeBoer up against anyone. That was Cowboy. Cowboy's still a fan of Kalen DeBoer.
He does say a lot of, he starts a lot of answers like that.
Dave Aranda's the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ben Stein. Bueller.
It's pretty good.
Anyone?
Bueller.
He's even softer spoken than that, though.
You have dry eyes. Did he do the dry eyes commercial? Forever I thought he was Tom Bodette with the Motel 6 commercials. We'll leave the light on for you, but turns out no, he's not. It's actually another guy. They kind of sound. Baylor coach reminds me of David Duchovny from X-Files. Oh, I hadn't seen that show in a minute. Yeah? Yeah? About the same amount of enthusiasm.
I just want to hear one of his pregame
Fat Joe
speeches.
says, can you play that Baylor's coach conference again? I caught the last 30 seconds of it. I'd love to hear the whole thing. You can go back and you can find it. We would not do that to everybody else, Fat Joe.
I was about to say, I don't really know if you want to go back and listen to it, but you can.
Just show up to Social Taco tomorrow, and I will find you a longer version that you can enjoy.
Put it on when you're going to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
That would probably be the best way to listen.
Yep. I appreciate the text. We'll keep them rolling in. 1 hour from right now, Hugh Freeze's weekly press conference coming up here on the show.
Well, another place that you can go enjoy is Big Whiskey's because they are the place for food of all varieties with a full menu ranging from apps, salads, burgers to steaks. Their bar features unique cocktails, over 120 whiskeys, including whiskey on tap, and plenty of screens so that you can catch all the college football and NFL action all season long. They also offer different food and drink specials each day of the week. They have happy hour, and the kitchen is open late every night. So go check them out in the Stadium Trace Village off Highway 150 near the Hoover Met.
Does the SEC roll in week one with the exception of LSU or including LSU? We'll get to the weekend slate of games. Continue this College Football Monday edition of Three Man Front right here on your home for college football and more. Jocks.
Take advantage of this dry weather out there. Call Golston Tree Service today because if that old tree is leaning a little bit too close to your house, don't wait for the next storm to make that decision for you. Call Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4443. Your trusted local experts at fast, affordable, and professional tree removal, trimming, and cleanup. Licensed, insured, ready to handle any job, big or small. So call Golston Tree Service at 205-337-4443. Golston also offers 24-hour emergency tree service, 205-337-4443. We briefly mentioned this on Friday because it was one of those stories that started coming out towards the back end of the show. Seth Wickersham, who is a writer for ESPN, he's got a book coming out about Arch Manning. And so in this book, we read an excerpt from the book in which he details the Alabama assistant coaches calling Nick Saban daddy, how some folks in the family wanted Arch to go to Georgia. The others, was looking at Alabama. And so a story came up about Pete Golding and some disparaging things that he said about Steve Sarkisian. So Seth Wickersham went on the Pablo Torre podcast. Take a listen to what he had to say about Arch Manning's recruitment.
Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, all these guys, it got Nick Saban even, it got so competitive and so ruthlessly intense between them as they were trying to get Arch. There was, a moment when Nick Saban came and all of the Nick Saban assistants call him daddy, which is, maybe we don't need to go there this episode. Nick Saban wanted Arch, and maybe if he had gotten him, he'd still be coaching, but he didn't want to appear to want Arch. Like he kind of wanted his presence to be enough. And, meanwhile, Pete Golding, who's one of his assistant coaches, is the one tasked with landing Arch. And it's getting down to the wire where Arch has got to make a decision, and they're doing a Zoom. And nobody, not even the family members, knew where Arch wanted to go or what his preferences were. Some of the family thought that Georgia was a good fit because he'd be coached hard. Other people thought that Alabama would be good because he could be coached by daddy. Who better to prepare you for the NFL? Texas was kept lingering. And, everyone wonders, what is a modern recruitment like for a guy like him? And it got so tight that Pete Golding was on a call with Arch Cooper and Nelson Stewart, a Zoom. And, people know that Steve Sarkisian, the coach of University of Texas, has battled alcoholism. It's public record. It almost cost him his career, but
famously,
he managed to find a way through it, and he's built a terrific career. And stuff like that ends up being fair game.
Oh, in the negative recruiting of all of this.
Exactly. And so Pete, who's friends with Sark, says on this call, he says, I love Sark. He's my best friend. And then he's like, oh my God, do I go there? And he did. He goes, I hope he can stay sober. And then after the call, Nelson Stewart called him and he was like, Pete, that is f***ed up. And Golding knew it was f***ed up, but he had no choice because, he goes, daddy's on me.
Conrad, what do you think? If Arch Manning would have said yay to Alabama, would Nick Saban still be the head coach?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I don't think one player would have drastically shifted his plans like that, but I could certainly be wrong. But no, I don't think he would still be coaching if Arch Manning was at Alabama.
Just think of that. If Arch would have been in Tuscaloosa, Caleb Downs would still be in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, most likely. It's a possibility. It's a fun what if.
Do you think Steve Sarkisian sent a note to Pete Golding?
I would think that that's been addressed by now. I do. And from a moral standpoint, that would be a difficult thing to do, especially if you're Pete Golding, right? And him and Sarkisian seem to have a very good relationship. That is also, do not think that other schools are not doing the exact same thing, I guess would be my response to that. I'm not saying that it's the greatest thing in the world to say, but you got to do what you got to do. It's a dog-eat-dog world in college football. So if you got to pull those strings and you got to say those things to get recruits, then that's what you got to do because you know other schools are doing the exact same thing.
Nick Saban was not battling alcoholism, but before he retired at Alabama, Kirby Smart and other SEC coaches used the fact that Nick Saban was getting long in the tooth.
They were using that on him for over a decade.
Yeah. How they would go after that.
So, I mean, again, you don't have to like it, but you want the best recruits. Got to play dirty sometimes. Everyone else does it. So
will you read the book?
No, I feel like that was probably the highlight.
Just that?
Well, yeah, it's like when you go and you see a movie trailer, you're like, man, I bet that movie's really good. And then it turns out, all the best scenes were in the trailer. That was it. I could be wrong. I'm sure I'm sure it'll be an interesting read, but how many of those stories are in there, right? Or is that the big one?
Yeah, it's interesting because the excerpt kind of leaked out on Friday, and then obviously you had the podcast, the clip that you just heard. So I have not seen anything else about the quarterbacks that's being featured in the book. So don't know.
Maybe Thomas Castellanos will be in there
after he beats Alabama.
That's right. They'll have to revise the book and release a new edition.
So the Vegas point spreads are out for this Thursday night for those games, and UAB's home game at Protective Stadium. I have seen some offshore numbers. I have not seen any Vegas since this is an FBS opponent taking on an FCS opponent. I've seen it above 3 touchdowns offshore. But some of the other games on Thursday night of note, as I'm scrolling down here, you've got Boise and South Florida. Boise is a 6-point favorite against South Florida. And that is a 4:30 kickoff.
That's a surprisingly good game. Or it should be very competitive.
Yeah, very should be. Jacksonville State's playing Central Florida. I know Molly will be pulling for Jacksonville State against Scott Frost. Central Florida is an 18-point favorite against Jacksonville State. That was Molly in the background. But she will be tuned in at 8 o'clock because in Kansas City, Nebraska, a 6.5-point favorite against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Here's my question. I suppose that Taylor Swift and Kelsey will be there rooting on Cincinnati.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe so.
Man, maybe I need to go.
And then Patrick Mahomes will be there because his son's playing quarterback for Nebraska. So
True.
So you don't think Taylor Swift and Kelsey will be there?
I think actually Travis and Jason said that they would, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
Because aren't Taylor and Kelsey pretty much living together now?
Yeah.
So what else are you going to do? Just make bread?
Yeah, a lot of sourdough.
That's all she does now.
Sourdough's good, though.
living in sin.
What, making sourdough is living in sin?
No, them living together before they're married.
Oh, I thought you meant like making the bread.
It's like,
was.
what's wrong with bread?
Nothing wrong with bread.
I love bread.
Me too.
I do too.
I love the carbs. Are you taking Nebraska in the 6.5?
Pat, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel about, like, any chance of a letdown?
I mean, there's always with
Yeah,
Nebraska.
yes.
There's always a chance of a letdown.
Yes, but
No, I actually.
in
feel
your
good
heart of
about
hearts,
this
you feel
one.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope.
Will you play that in the office football pool?
I hope.
Probably.
Are you going to sign up for the office football pool?
Yes. Sorry.
None of you have, so
Oh,
we're
at least I'm not
we're
alone.
about to close it off. So
I've been busy.
if you guys don't want to be a part of it, that's fine.
I thought I had to give my spot to Bama Hater since he wanted to join.
Let me go buy my groceries first, and then I'll.
Priorities, Molly. Priorities. All right, more three-man front on this reaction money. This is Jocks. Well, week 0 is in the books, but before we put it completely in our rearview mirror, we've got to go back to Dublin. Man, what an exciting finish between Iowa State and Kansas State.
4th down and 3 from the 16-yard line of Kansas State. Beck from the shotgun. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Hard snap count again. And now Rocco takes the snap, looks left, fires that way. It's caught by Hansen, and he fights for the corner, spins off a tackler, and gets to the goal line. Touchdown, Carson Hansen. Oh my goodness, they flared it out to Hansen out of the backfield. They might review it to see if he actually got across. It's almost as good if he doesn't. And that is going to do it. How about these Cyclones? Career victory number 100 for Matt Campbell as the Cyclones win the Aer Lingus College Football Classic.
24-21 was the final. It was ugly in the first half. You had 4 fumbles, 8 punts, 21 points. Fourth quarter alone had 24 points, 3 touchdowns, and 1 field goal. So for those locals that maybe snuck into the stadium to see what this American football was all about, they got to see a really, really fun fourth quarter. Not so much the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, 100 wins for Matt Campbell, and these days just doing it one place is quite the achievement. I can remember when Coach Dye got close. It was 99 that Coach Dye ended up finishing with in his career at Auburn. But for Matt Campbell to be able to do what he's done, and especially in Ames, Iowa, pretty impressive. And for them to go and get that win, that is a huge win for Iowa State. No, I don't think it really changes the way that I view Iowa State or Kansas State. Kind of the game that we envision, the game that I think Vegas envisioned.
Both teams had salty defenses, and when you're playing on a wet turf like they were, and it's the first game of the season, you can see both offenses struggled. Honestly thought Avery Johnson was going to have a better day, but maybe he was more worried about his dad and brother fighting it out in the parking lot after the game. Not really sure.
Yeah. So looking at Matt Campbell and his record, going back to him at Iowa State, so he's averaging 6.5 wins per season.
Okay, I mean, for Ames, Iowa, yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, before he got there, they were one of the worst college football programs in the history of the sport. So,
I mean, Gene Chizik got a job at Auburn.
Yeah. After going, 5-19?
Yeah. At least that's what the guy at the airport kept telling everybody. Was that you?
It was not.
Okay.
It was not. No.
What was he yelling the whole time?
We won was it a leader or a winner or not a loser?
5-19.
It was something, not a loser. But
he won a national championship.
He won a natty. Someone asking if we know about a certain situation somewhere, and we will check that out. Thank you, Brad, for the text. And more text rolling in as well. 205-834-9450. And this one reads, that story with Sark and Arch is similar to when Kirby took the UGA job and took picks at Bama's recruiting board and used that against Saban. Nick from North Birmingham. My picks for the games this week: Auburn 34, Baylor 17, Alabama 35, FSU 20, Clemson 24, LSU 21, Miami 38, Notre Dame 34. Likes both Auburn and Alabama winning.
What did he have the LSU game? Did he have LSU winning or Clemson?
No, he had Clemson 24-21.
Okay.
Reed says Cincinnati and Nebraska will both have both the New Heights podcast and Bussin' with the Boys podcast there. They have a bet, and the loser has to go to the other's podcast or on the other's podcast. Okay. Pat from Springville says the fact that Saban's assistants called him daddy is the most shocking part of this story. About the people calling games, I've listened to sports on the radio all my life. Over the last several years, it's become hard to do. No matter what sport, pro or college, the play-by-play guys holler and scream like a bunch of idiots. When something big happens, I quickly turn the sound down so I don't have to hear the hollering and screaming. Most think Vin Scully was the best ever on the radio in his career. How many times did he holler and scream like a fool? 0. Never. Jack Buck? Never.
You got to let the moment breathe, and unfortunately, there are some broadcasters that want maybe a particular moment to be more about them and their voice than the accomplishment of a team in the moment.
Walker asking, does Conrad have plans to go to any Bama games this year? If so, I'll know who to bet on that week.
Guess what, folks? He is going to every single one of them for the exception of one.
Yeah, bad news. So 1-11 season.
Home games.
2
home games.
Well, yes.
Home
yes,
games.
there will only be one home game. So Alabama at best this year will go 7-5 because I will be in attendance 6-6, sorry, because I'll be at 6 home games.
The Dutchman says, I never change the channel when y'all are on, except for today. I almost nodded off during Dave's presser. It's week 1, baby. Go Irish. 4-leaf clover emoji. Great show as always. Thank you, Dutchman. Mike in Huntsville wants to know, will Bama hater cry more about Alabama when Miami gets curb stomped this weekend? Joe Tess is by far the worst, is what one of our listeners says. I don't want to read that one. Aranda or Belichick toss-up. Either way, sometimes you need to check for a pulse. Jamie, Alabama 42, Florida State 10. Roll Tide, baby.
That'd be a good way to start the season.
Pizza Larry says, TJ Finley's odds, starter plus 2,500, inmate minus 350. I don't know if his legal troubles have gotten cleared up or not.
I haven't seen any updates on it, so maybe he's past that now.
Brandon reminds us about inflation and the nature of college football these days. Crazy stat, Arch Manning will make more in 1 year in college than Archie Manning made his entire NFL career.
Seems about right.
And Michael says, shout out to the official who performed CPR and saved the life of his colleague during the Sylacauga versus Central Coosa game.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Oh, man, I didn't see that. That's wild.
What if, when Dave Aranda gets fired, they hire him and somehow put him and RG3 as color analysts and Beth Moen as play-by-play?
That would be something.
We can all dream, can't we? And Michael wants to know, will Conrad accept Greg McElroy's challenge to learn how to kick on YouTube? I asked if you had to wear the Yeezys. That is not a requirement.
Oh, is Greg saying that in case Alabama struggles continue and somebody needs to step in Tuscaloosa?
Apparently he challenged the show, being you.
Greg challenged me?
We just decided that you would be our designated kicker if you had to learn how to do it. You get 3 tries, and there's money involved.
For what, 30 yards?
35 yards, which I think it'd be hard enough to just do an extra point.
It'll be tough.
College extra point. Are you going to accept the challenge? You're coming off a win.
We'll see.
All right, Hugh Freeze, his presser in the next hour. More of your phone calls and texts as we continue.